Alright guys, good afternoon. So today what we're going to be focusing on is understanding how to use the pen tool. And the pen tool is going to be something that you're going to be using quite a bit moving forward in this class, because anytime you go to create a shape or form, and you want it to be not, something that has already been created, you will use the pen tool to probably do this. So what we're going to be doing is an exercise today to help us get used to understanding how the tool works and what we should be doing to get the desired shapes that we want. I'm going to do 3 videos for this exercise, for each part of the exercise. And just remember, you always can stop and pause the video while you are working, depending on the speed that you are working at. I'm going to work at my normal working speed. I will try to go through it as slow as I can, but I don't want to hold anyone back as well. So you always can pause it and keep working with what you have on your screen. So to open up the exercise, you're going to go to File, Open, through Illustrator. It's the easiest way to do it. You're going to go to the graphics drive. Give it a second to pop up. If it takes you 2 minutes, 3 minutes, that's okay. You can hit pause right now until it does pop up. But I'm going to keep going. You're going to go to Minarc, Computer Graphics. You're going to go to Spring 2018. And you're going to go to Unit 3, Elements of Design. There are 3 parts of this unit. We're going to be working on the color wheel first. So you're going to go to Color Wheel. And then you're going to open up the Pen Tool exercise. And this is going to give you an exercise sheet, and it's going to have 3 different exercises on here. Again, I will be doing 3 separate videos so that you can stop and pause at the will of the video to keep going. And I do want you guys to use the videos to see how well they're working. So really do, and then I'm obviously always here to ask questions and help you guys through it, because some things are a little bit confusing or hard to get through for sure. Okay, so under our layers, we do have the template. It's already locked for you. Please leave it locked. And then when you're saving this, you need to make sure that you save it as your last name, first name, pen tool exercise. You are not saving over this file and then putting it back in that folder, because then no one else has it to be used. So please make sure that you are saving it correctly and in the correct places. Okay, so we have our layers, we have our exercises, and we're going to be going through them pretty easily. There is a lot of exercises. I will be going through a couple of them. They're pretty step-by-step, so I'm going to go through a couple of the ones that are pretty major. Some of them are going to be more of straight lines. You're going to learn how to do curved lines, multiple curves, curves with corner points, it's but on top, combining curves with straight lines, and the last one, curves with corners and tweaking handles. So there is a lot to this exercise, but you are going to be learning how to make your own shapes, which could be very, very handy. Okay, so we are going to start with straight lines. It's probably one of the easier ones to do because you're not having to do too much with it. So I'm going to zoom in, and I can do Control plus or just zoom in. And I'm going to be making a star using the pen tool. So the pen tool is up here on the left. If you hover over it, it will say pen tool. You're going to click on it, and the exercise is pretty nice and straightforward because it goes in number order and tells you exactly what you should be doing at what line. And with the pen tool, it's really nice because it's about anchor points and where the points are. To make curves and stuff, we'll show you that later, but it's pretty straightforward for doing the something that has more of a geometric idea behind it. So we're going to start with the star. You're going to click on it. That's your first anchor point, and you're going to drag to number 2. You're going to click. You're going to drag to number 3. You're going to click. You're going to drag to number 4. You're going to click. So what you're creating are nice, straight, even lines. And what the thing that you're going to notice about the pen tool is it's going to want to create a shape, and we'll change the properties of this a little bit later. I'll show you exactly how to do that. But for now, I want you just to focus on getting straight lines, and you should be trying to select inside that circle as evenly as possible. And you're just going around the star. This one's pretty easy. You have to be careful because sometimes number 10 gets covered up, and I'll show you how to change that if it bothers you. And you always hit Control Z, and I'm going to do it right there. There we go. And I'm going back to number 1. To get out of it, you have to go to the Move tool, and now I've created a star. if you go to properties, or after you select on your star, the fill is on white. So if you didn't want to have that, you can always put the fill on no fill, and this is just creating a nice, simple, clean line, which is really nice. If you did want it to have a cool kind of gradient or pattern or whatever you were kind of going for, you can do that, and you can always, you know, how to adjust things and do things as well. But for this exercise, I do want you guys to have it on no fill so that I can see that you're understanding the basics of creating a line, which is super important. You always can change the stroke color, or you can make the stroke line thicker or thinner, which is mostly based off of a desired, whatever you kind of are going for. And you can change the color. I don't care what color you guys choose. That's up to you. You know, choose your favorite color to make it a little bit more fun. But for me, I'm just going to choose black. You can even have a gradient line. So you can do a lot of cool things with the pen tool, which is really a nice and simple tool, but you can still do a lot with it. And of course, I put on no stroke, back to black. Okay. Alright. And then I'm going to click out of it, and I made my star. That one's pretty simple. It's just nice, clean, straight lines. Okay. We're going to do curved lines. So I'm going to combine these on one video because they are a little bit more straightforward. And these aren't too hard, but it is important so that you are creating a nice, perfect circle. Yes, you can use the marquee tool, but it is nice to know other ways to, if this opened up for me, you would see all the options, but you guys should know that by now. So I go back to the pen tool, go back to my layers. You can keep everything on the same layer. If you really want to keep things separate, you can, but this is just an exercise. So at the end of the day, it's not the biggest deal if things are separated. For this, you know by now that it is always best to keep things on different layers so that you have more control over the layers. Okay, so for curved lines, you're going to click and press and hold down the shift key. The shift key is going to allow you to change the angle of the path. And you're going to drag to number 2, and you're going to release it. Then you're going to go to number 3, and you're going to click. So these are your anchor points. What these guys are, number 4 and number 2, are how to adjust the curve to create it a little bit more round. So you're going to click at number 3, you're going to press and hold down the shift key, and you're going to drag to number 4 and release. This creates a nice, easy curve. One that you can control and see. And then you're going to go to number 5. You are going to click, hold the shift key, and you are going to drag to number 6 and release. And it's going to create another curve that is exactly the same. If the lines, like number 6, number 4, number 2, as long as they're all the same width from there when you're holding shift, then you'll get a nice perfect circle. If they're not the same, it's not going to be a perfect circle. Again, you don't always have to create a perfect circle. You can always use the marquee tool to do that, but it is nice to know because maybe you wanted a circle that had a different ending shape, and this is how you would do it. Okay, so you release at number 6. Now you click and press on number 7. You hold the shift key, you drag to number 8, and you release. And then the last one's nice because you just go to number 1, and then you have to bring it back to number 2 to finish your circle. And that is how you create a nice curved, perfect line. And again, you can change the properties. So I'm going to pause there for a moment so that you guys can kind of get through those. They shouldn't be too difficult. The next ones are a little bit more, a little harder. So see how those go. If you need to redo something or delete something, remember you always hit Control Z to kind of go back.